All right. Welcome to CA10 Artificial Intelligence 2026 Rollout webinar. This is the session for teachers. We're going to do some introductions. Many of you guys know me. I'm Brent. I'm the Senior Consultant for Computer Science, IT, and Technology Education here at NCDPI. And I'll turn it over to Christy to introduce some of her team.
Hello, everyone. So good to see you all today. I have with me Matt Johnson, and we're the territory specialists for the state of North Carolina. We also have 3 other territory specialists that I will introduce a little bit later in our meeting today. And then we also have Corbin White, who is our teacher onboarding specialist. That means anytime you guys have questions, Corbin is available to answer them. Later in this, I'll be showing you his phone number and his email address, and also a link that you can schedule a training with him. And then, of course, we have the man of the hour, Terrence Moore with MSI. Terrence is one of Certiport's partners in he has created custom courseware for North Carolina for generative AI. And so when your schools purchase the generative AI exams for you, it comes with his course and with the practice tests as well as the exams. And so he's an incredible partner for us and for the state of North Carolina. And with that, I'd love to turn it over to Terrence.
Excellent. Thank you, Christy. I really appreciate it. And hello, teachers. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to show you what we've come up with. I hope you get a lot out of it. And as I said in the last session, as I'm going through my little presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. This is organic. This is your time. And I want to make sure you get the absolute most out of it. Having said that, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, there you go. It looks like you are able to see it now. Okay, so what I would like to do is kind of go over our course, what it entails, how it's laid out, show you how it looks in one of the other platforms. I'm going to use Canvas. Let you know our content. We try to do the best we can to be platform agnostic. So if you like it best in Canvas, we can give it to you in Canvas. If you like it best in Geometrics, we can give it to you in Geometrics. And of course, we have it in our own MSI platform. So I will kind of start to take you through the course and how it's laid out. And let me bring up the chat in case anybody has any questions I can see. Okay, so any MSI platform, we actually can brand the course for your school. So if you wanted to put your school name or logo here, when you get your course registration form, you can upload your school logo. So it's just a nice little thing that we do. We have an AI sandbox, so students can go in and practice writing some prompts in a walled off environment. So they're in an AI model on our servers, so they can't go to anything that's would be disallowed, any kind of adult content or violent content. They won't be able to access any of that, but they still will be accessing a live large language model where they can go in and practice a prompt, and I'll just bring one up. So let's say we have some pre-made prompts. So what is an LLM? That's a prompt. You click it, and it's actually going to give you a response from our large language model. Okay, and LLM is a large language model. Okay, so you get the picture. But it's a nice feature to be able to practice actually writing a prompt without being exposed to the internet at large. When we talk about how the courses are laid out, first we have our instructor support materials, which are great. We have scope and sequence, PowerPoint slides, pacing guides. So just a whole bunch of materials that you would need. Also, the students can select what period they're going to be in. So this makes it easier because that dynamically builds out your grade book. If you're using Canvas, you don't have to worry about that because we're going to put our Canvas course in an instance of your version of Canvas. So all of your student rostering, grading, all of that will be seamless because it'll exist on your side of the house without exposing any student data. When we lay our courses out, we start out with an overview page. So we tell you what we're going to teach in that page, what domain objectives we're mapping to, so you can know that it's aligning with the domain objectives. So I'll click into that. Okay. And as you can see, there's the domain and there's the subdomain. And these are all of the domains and subdomains that are going to be covered in that first chapter. Also, we have an interactive glossary that lives right on the page where the student can click on a term. Now, they'll also have a flashcard deck that's later on in the courseware, but this is a way for, if they say, well, I've heard that, that term AI prompts, but what exactly does that mean? You click on it, you can actually get a definition. Navigation is super easy. You just click next. If it's in Canvas, next. If you're in Geometrics, it's next. So next is pretty universal. We have a pre and post assessment at the beginning and end of each chapter to help measure learning gains. And I'm going to just keep popping here, back here to show you. Then we have the topic pages. Now the topic pages are where the actual learning takes place. So this is where you can either lecture as a teacher, or you can have the students read it, or the students can have it read to them. There's a feature here where I can actually turn on the okay. So some nice bells and whistles. If you want to switch language on the page, you can actually click the drop down, click Spanish. When I click save, the page is actually going to be in Spanish. Okay, so language switching on demand. I love that feature. Now, this is to accommodate English as a second language students. So the interface is going to remain in English and the assessments are going to remain in English, but it's to help that student along that's maybe struggling a little bit with English, but we still want to get them to the point where they're learning English. So this is that kind of hand up to help the student. We have an immersive reader, which is very important. We want to make sure courseware is accessible. The immersive reader is available in any platform you utilize the courseware. So it also has a language switcher in the immersive reader too. So I'll pick a hard one, Arabic. Okay, when I click that, it's actually going to convert the page and it'll even read to you in Arabic.
الفصل الأول طرق ومنهج.
Okay, and if you notice, it even switched the language of the text. So this is a very robust immersive reader. You can also, if the student has sensory issues, you can also adjust the size of the text. So you get the picture. This is an important feature. Also, we have a read-along feature that lives on the page. So let's say if the person is doing the course on an iPad or a Chromebook, they can actually click here and have the page
Chapter
read to
1,
them.
Generative AI Methods and Methodologies.
So at MSI, we try to remove barriers. Every barrier you take down is going to help another student. Okay, so we're constantly trying to make the courseware as accessible as possible. Okay, it says I've been working on geometrics. After this rollout, we will have access to the teacher features. Will there be a teacher training on the teacher features? Metaline, yes, we can set up onboardings and trainings from our side, and that's all part of the service. As you go through the courseware, we have these little knowledge checks that live on the page, and we treat these as an activity. So the student gets immediate feedback, but they don't go in the grade book. We will assess the student on these later on. This one, they actually have to type some information in, and it kind of goes along like this. So if you're doing a stand and deliver, we give you the PowerPoint slides to utilize, and you can actually use the topic pages. Now, the quizzes. I love our quizzes. We did a couple things because we really want to help prepare that student for the certification exam, right? So we've broken up the quizzes into different sections. So the topic pages, these are questions derived from that topic page that we were just on. These are the knowledge check questions. Remember I told you we treat them as an activity, but then they're going to actually be assessed. This is that assessment. So it's the same information, but now they're getting graded on it. So we use the first as an activity. Now we're using this as the assessment. And then we have the scenario-based activity, which how does this information apply in the real world? And then, of course, the vocabulary. So even though it's only 4 questions, each one has several on the page. We want to make sure they know those terms. I'm dyslexic, so I'm very sensitive to this. I would read sometime when I was in high school, 1 or 2 words, terms I didn't understand, threw everything off. So this helps alleviate that. Once a student completes the quiz, and oh, by the way, if you notice, they also have a timer. We want to get that student used to working in a timed environment because the certification exam is timed. When I click submit, it's going to ask me again, are you sure you're ready or do you want to return to the attempt? And it's going to tell me how long I spent. I'm very confident. I'm going to submit. Once I submit, I can see what I got right and what I got wrong, and it color codes it for me. If it's red, I got it completely incorrect. If it's orange, I got it partially correct. If it's gray, I didn't answer it. So the student can continuously self-remediate. And if they take the quiz again, they're going to get different questions out of the question bank. They're going to be in a different order. So they just can't memorize A, A, B, C, D, A, A, B. That's not going to work. So we want to really make sure we get that information in there. So that's how it goes along. Read a little bit, do some knowledge checks, then take a quiz. Okay. One of the ones I like to always show is that 2.4, where it talks about the coding engine. It just has a nice little, I think it has a great look to it. Let me bring it up here. It's on the prompt engineering one, I believe. So we actually have some videos that are actually right on the page. So, but our graphics team is great. I think they do a fantastic job. This one is an ordering one. And again, you get immediate feedback, and you're going to have to do that in another environment. Okay. So hopefully you like the look of it. I mean, I do. Does anybody have any questions as I keep talking? No? Okay. So yeah, so and all of these kind of features, they work on any of our platforms. Our dev team is incredible. The fact that we can push this information to any platform, and I'll show you what I mean, because I'm going to show it to you in Canvas. So I make sure I'm going to the right page. This is 2 point basic prompt engineering. So let me show you what it looks like in Canvas. So this is the course in Canvas, right? So if I go to the modules, right? And I'm going to go to that 2.4 page. And I show that page because that's one that you would think, man, it's not going to work in a different LMS. But look at this. It looks exactly the same. Even the reader.
Chapter 2, Basic.
Even the immersive reader, right? Even the videos. All right. So whatever platform you're using, you're going to have the same great experience. Okay. And then all of these features again. So let's, one of the other AI sandboxes that we have is this type of exercise. This is a sales data processing. And this shows how to write a prompt. Okay, so it actually has instructions and then it'll grade automatically. So I'm not going to bore you reading through it, but you have to normalize the distribution of the CSV. It gives you some instructions, and then we have some pre-written prompts here. So did you see I clicked the right one? So do you see it actually writing the prompt and then analyzing it? Okay, and then I can actually see this data here that's been added. So these are all of the books and the ISBN numbers. Then when I go to the second one, now it says execute the merge. Okay, let's see if I get this one right. Nope, I didn't. Nope, see, so now it's approving the merge. Okay, and now it actually took all of that book information and it used the prompt to write it. Okay, and as you can see, it's actually grading as I go. Now in the real exercise, the student will have to type all of this in. So now it's analyzing more data. It put all the books in. Okay, and now, nope. Now it's generating a portfolio. So it actually generated this for all of the books. And you can actually see the data that was all crunched and see one for each of the different books. So this is a live activity, AI activity for an AI agent that lives on our servers that grades and reacts in real time. Okay, very exciting. Let's see. So, oh, and then the other thing I want to cover with you is course mapping. Okay. So we actually have done the crosswalk. So we crosswalk this to one of the courses in your state. Okay. So it shows what chapter, the title, the content of lesson focus, and then the standard objective aligned to, and then evidence in the source content. For anybody who's done the crosswalks, you know how much work this is. All right. And it's completely aligned to our courseware. The chapter project's intended to remain quiz style format, or there is an option for some other types of assignments. Yeah, there's a lot of other different types of assignments, Drew. And how will you access the exercises? I don't see that directly in the MSI course material. The activity type I just showed you, Drew, is a new activity type that's being entered. Okay. Then here you actually see the coverage matrix. Okay.
I'll be going. Keep it. I had a
And the
class, so I had
standard
to. That's why I
thresholds.
stopped out the room. Look,
Does someone have a question?
I had a.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
right.
So let me take you to the grading items. Someone's not on mute. So if I go to the course, you can actually see who the participants are in this particular course. And then in the grade book, here's all of the grading elements that are generated. So this course generates enough grades for the entire grading period. If you're working in Canvas, if you look at the grading and the quizzes in Canvas, all of the quizzes are actually native to Canvas, which is a really big deal because then you can do your grade weighting. You can make any changes. I wouldn't advise you to make a lot of changes because we make sure they're all aligned to the certification domain objectives. But you can have them show one at a time or multiple questions. So you have all of the flexibility in the world. You're all seasoned teachers. You know what you're doing. I think what you need from us is the tools and a comprehensive way to help your students be successful. So in a nutshell, that's how our courses are laid out. That's some of the features of our courses. Just one or two other things. We do have a vocabulary flashcard deck. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's something that's needed. It's a good bell ringer. And again, those terms are really super duper important. Okay, and Canvas teachers can limit access. Is that possible on other platforms? Yes, 100%. So if I want to limit access in the MSI platform, I just go to turn on editing. And then once I'm in editing, let's say if I want to hold the class as a herd, click hide topic. Once I do that, the students will be able to see it exists, but they won't have access to it. And I can even assign a date when I want it to be active. And if I want to have one group move on without another group, I can assign cohorts. So our platform is very robust. We made a really big investment in the MSI platform. And, I've worked with some of you in the past. I've worked here 30 years, and this is the best our product has been. We've just really left it all on the field, and we're super duper proud. Managing grades for assessments. Is there a streamlined process for inputting to Google Classroom? We can help you with Google Classroom, Drew. The problem with Google Classroom is it's not an LMS. It's a bulletin board. But we do have a way to help you get your courseware into Google Classroom. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so we went over how the courses are laid out, how it's aligned, instructor support materials. Oh, the only thing I didn't show you is, here's like the lecture slide. So yeah, let me just open one up for you right quick. Okay, and these lecture slides are yours. So, you can customize them, do whatever you want, but they're available to you, to make your life a little bit easier. And of course, the scope and sequence, pacing guide, all of that stuff. So I think that's everything I have. Any questions? What do I always say, Matt? Either I was thorough or boring. Christy, I'm going with thorough.
I
I
don't
think
see
you
any
should.
questions. If anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat or you can unmute. But thank you, Terrence, for showing the course. I'm gonna share my screen and
Okay, let me.
go over some more information from the DPI side.
Excellent. Okay, I'll go ahead and go fly on the wall. Thank you guys and ladies for making time. We appreciate you.
Let me find my window again. Okay, can everybody see my screen? See
Yes.
course in? Okay. All right, so course information. You can view this today on the 2026-2027 Future CMS. So just some general information about this course. This course is a supplemental employability course, and it is going to be in all of our cluster groupings, all of our clusters, and our pathways. So it relates to everything CTE. Here's our course description. I took the paragraph format and broke it out into sentences and highlighted some keywords there. But this is something you could totally use on your teacher website or your course syllabus, or even a welcome document that you would make for your students and their parents or guardians whenever you're starting that. So some general information. I am going to be the lead consultant for this course. So if you have any questions or need some support, you can always email me. The course status for next school year is going to be pilot. The proof of learning for this course is a credential. It is Generative AI Foundations. It is 135 to 150 hours of instruction. We recommend a maximum enrollment of 25. And this meets the computer science graduation requirement with a special note that this course can be offered in both middle and high school. It will meet that requirement. So in the past, we've been asked from our middle schools, how do we teach a course that is this length to a middle grades schedule? And the law around that says that any high school course remains a high school course. You have to teach it in the middle school with fidelity. So that is up to your CTE team at the local level to determine how much time they will give you for this course. Students in middle grades will also need to complete the proof of learning for this high school course, which would be the same credential. Who can teach this course? Any CTE license it has the ability to teach this course. And then as far as course delivery, teachers are highly recommended, but not required, to hold the Generative AI Foundation's credential. We have our course outcomes. These are the overarching expectations for what students should know and be able to do upon the completion of this course. We write these in student-friendly language so that they are designed for you to share them directly with your students and their parents. They provide a clear understanding of what a student will walk away with and help answer the critical why, giving students a focused goal or a sense of purpose in their learning journey. So if I was teaching this course, this is something I would want to post in my classroom somewhere and refer to it as I'm teaching. Of course, like all of our other courses, we have our course standards and objectives. I'm not going to read all of these out to you, but I'll call out the major standards for the course. The first one is understand how generative AI models work. Then we're going to move into understand how to design effective prompts. We then move into apply prompt engineering to create and refine AI outputs. Understand the ethical, legal, and social responsibilities of using AI. And then finally, we tie everything together and we're going to use AI to solve problems and enhance creativity. So, just like all the other CTE courses, we will have a curriculum guide that is published in the upcoming days to the CSIT Moodle. This will also be available in our new CTE Resource Center under Supplemental Employability Courses when that launches in July. So, CTSO alignment. I know our CTSOs are intra-curricular, not just co-curricular or after school. Since this course is supplemental employability, every single CTSO has been aligned to this course. You can take any activity. Some CTSOs have a lot of career-focused activities, like career prep. Some CTSOs have an AI competition. FBLA has one, and so does TSA. They have a competition where you can use artificial intelligence in the competition. The other CTSOs, they have a variety of competitions that you could use as a learning experience. You could modify those competitions and use it as a classroom activity where you could have students make a video, make a podcast, or do something like that with AI. But you would not be able to allow students to enter those competitions using that product. Many of our CTSOs have some sort of AI guidance where it says as a member, you can use ChatGPT, for example, as a thinking partner or to correct your grammar in any sort of writing, but you can't use it to make your project. So if you were to do that with this course, you would want to make sure that you tell your students, this is just for our class activity, but you would not be able to use this, for like a coding event in one of these CTSOs. Curriculum vendor information, as Terrence shared, that is the Generative AI Foundations from MSI. And you have a variety of ways you can access that. You can go through your local LMS, such as Canvas. You can access it through the geometric system. You can access it through the MSI system. Doesn't matter which one you use, you get the same product. This most likely will come from your CIMC or your CT director as they decide how they want this to be implemented throughout their school system. Aligned credentials. So we've already went over the proof of learning credential. That's the Generative AI Foundations. That is the required credential. Since this entire course is about artificial intelligence, it is very likely that students could take the aligned optional credential, and that is the Information Technology Specialist, Artificial Intelligence. Then in our curriculum guide, we're going to have our course outcomes and a curriculum teacher brief. So here's some of the curriculum teacher brief. You have a large number of resources, activities, projects, quizzes, PowerPoints provided from you from the course. But we all know that sometimes we want to do something our own. As teachers, we're going to make a lesson plan, or we may make an activity or a project of our own to do something that we want to do with our students. And I know there's a large variety of AI platforms out there, like ChatGPT, Adobe Firefly, Sono, where we can make songs, We can make videos with AI. There's a whole lot of things we can do with AI. It is not up to me or the state to determine if an AI product is approved or not. That is a local level decision, most likely made by your IT department. So we do put that guidance in here. Then we give you a link to the AI guidelines. This is the document that your IT director and your CTE directors have access to. And basically, it tells them, we don't say you should block anything. We just say you should be safe in your decision making. We also will have pilot sports for our first year. We're going to have, as always, pilot check-in meetings and surveys. We've put tentative up here because I haven't figured out when we're going to have those meetings yet. But we'll probably start those soon with the new school year starting. For some of you, as early as July, but most of the state starts in August. So we'll start to have meetings throughout that first semester. We also have our CSET office hours. This semester, we did it every Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. I'm not sure if we're going to change the time or not for next school year, but that will also be another option for you guys. And then, of course, professional development. We've been posting and we've had professional development this whole time, but we're going to continue to have that. So the free 10-hour virtual training from Certiport, that's still active. If you haven't already taken a part of that, you can still access that today and get trained and possibly earn that credential yourself. And then this semester in April, we did a Generative AI Foundations Bootcamp Roadshow where we did a session at DPI, we did a session in Greensboro, and then we also went to Asheville and did a session. We're going to try to do those sessions again sometime in the fall, so you have an in-person session to attend to. And then questions and answers. You guys can always email me, or if you don't know who to email, you can email our CSIT email address, and this will go to me, Mike, Michelle, and Natalie. So no matter what you're teaching, you send it to that email, the whole team will get it, and the person who is over that will respond. But at this point, I'm now going to turn it over to Christy, and because she has some other things to support and share with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Brent. So I have some slides here that I'm going to share with you guys. If you do not have a certiport.com account, then you'll want to create one because you're going to need one to take the exam. And let's go ahead and move that up there. And then just so you know, so you don't have to stress as I go through these slides, I just posted them now in the meeting chat. So you have access to them. So you'll have access to these links. This QR code is one that I'd like you to scan for two different reasons. Number one, we want to make sure that you can hit the ground running and getting ready for the school year. So this will allow Corbin, my onboarding rep, which I'll introduce in a minute, to get you added to your certiport.com account and your Gmetrics account for your schools. But first, prior to filling that out, you'll want to visit these sites and create an account if you haven't already. Now, next, the other reason you would want to scan this QR code or click this link is if you want demo access to the course, the exams, or to the practice tests. So this will be the way you're going to get access to it. Now, I mentioned, oops, let's go down here. And okay, I mentioned earlier in the call, there's me and Matt who cover the great state of North Carolina, but we have 5 account managers now. As you fill out that form with the QR code, you will be getting an email from your territory manager. We know that there'll be a lot of teachers getting on board with generative AI. And so we wanted to expand our team to make sure that we can provide fast replies, fast service, and getting up and going. In addition to your account managers, we also have Corbin White, who's joined us for this call today. And he is the Certiport onboarding rep for the state of North Carolina. So his full-time job is to help you teachers get up and going with new courses and practice tests and exams. Now, with that said, while he can do all of those, I do recommend you go to him when you need help getting going with the exams, because we have some awesome teams already in place for the practice tests and the course. And so the course and the practice test, should you choose to be on the Gmetrics platform, this is all of the contact information. They have a live calendar of events. They also have a full-time onboarding person who's just for practice tests and courses, and her name is Taylor Oliver, and you can drop into any of her live sessions, or the one that I find the most important is this phone number right there. Oops, didn't mean to click my screen so hastily. That phone number of Taylor Oliver's is one you'll want to program, or sorry, of Gmetrics, the 801-323-5800. You will want to program that in your cell phones, because anytime you need help, Gmetrics is standing by, and they are amazing. They answer quickly. They can answer your questions. As far as time zone goes, they are here in Utah, so they are available from 8 a.m. Eastern, yes, 8 a.m. Eastern until 7 p.m. Eastern. And so just take note of that if you need to reach them during that time. So course help. Now, if, like I mentioned before, if you have your MSI course on the Gmetrics platform, then you use these numbers. But if you have it on MSI's platform, which you guys will be, asked when you go to place your orders, which platform you want it on. If you want it on the MSI platform, then this is the email address you want to take note of for help. Now, if you're in the middle of an exam, the best place to go for help would be technical support. Corbin is more exam training, like what testing engine do I use? How do I give an exam? That kind of thing. And also live chat. This will be a great link for you guys to have too. Now, if your students, it never fails, come testing day, they forget their passwords. So first of all, a best practice is the day before the exam, have them go ahead and log in, make sure they remember it. Secondly, if for some reason they can't get the email to reset their password, or for any other data that they need reset, they can contact this phone number. Because of data privacy, the teacher cannot call. It has to be the student. A couple things about the exam. It's a 50-minute exam, and in that 50 minutes, you've got 40 to 45 questions, depending on what version of the exam you get. Now, this is why time management is very imperative. If you spend 20 minutes on one question, you're never going to pass that exam. So be sure to read the instructions prior to taking the exam, which will counsel you that if you don't know the answer to a question, to go ahead and mark it for review. And when you mark that for review, it'll allow you to go back and review those questions at the end. And that way you'll be able to get through more of the questions in the hour and just spend whatever time's remaining on those harder ones that you're not quite sure. So Brent already covered that it satisfies the computer science graduation requirement, and that it can be offered in middle schools and high schools. Here's another link again for you guys to access the practice tests and the exams, to be able to play with them and get ready to be certified as a teacher. One other note is that when you fill that out, once you press submit, it's actually going to give you the code you need to access the course and the practice tests. So be sure to watch for that once you hit submit, that's the thing that pops up and says, thank you for your submission. And it actually gives you your codes there. And then your rep will be reaching out to you after you do that and following up and saying, when you're ready for the exams, just let us know and we'll get them loaded in your schools. Now give that rep about a week before you're ready to take the exam to give them plenty of time to get it loaded into your school's testing center. Now, the bundles that North Carolina has put together for these include the exams, the practice tests, and the course. So you don't have to worry, oh, is my district going to get all of this for me? That's what's included in the bundles. And if you have a small, it'll be single user. If you have more than 15, it'll be a classroom license. Now, let's say you want to get certified yourself. We've got 4 different places you can do this. So you can do this in your local high school. If your high school is not a testing center, you can reach out to your director, CTE director, or CDC or CIMC, and they can point you to somewhere in your district that is a testing center. North Carolina Summer Conference, we do have a Certiport lab, and we will be giving exams. Now, those spots fill up fast, so you want to be sure to sign up as soon as those are posted on the Moodle. And then also, we have our Certified Educators Conference this year. It's right next door in Nashville, Tennessee. It's June 14th through the 7th, actually 14th through the 17th. And you can register for that. And then, oops, here's a little bit more about it. It is the 15th. I thought that looked wrong. And then also, as Brent mentioned, we're doing a generative AI roadshow. Here's the website where you can find out more about this, including the exam objectives, and then links for certified in case you want to attend there to attend the testing center, or we have some generative AI sessions at the conference also. Now, this is a slide I just want you guys to keep handy because these are all the resources you're going to need as a teacher teaching generative AI. Number 1, you want to sign up for our newsletter because that's where you're going to get all the latest and greatest information about the generative AI exam. It's in a bundle called Critical Career Skills. And so when you're going to our website and looking, you might see it abbreviated as CCS. That is where generative AI is because it's part of that bundle. And then we've got some great videos, some quick reference guides. You know, if you want to see what's on the exam, here are the generative AI exam objectives. And then when your students get certified, there's nothing I love more than to go to a school and they've got certificates on their walls. If you need to see your score reports, make sure your student ID's in there. All of this account management type thing is here under this link. If you've got students with accommodations, the last day to drop classes, I recommend that you go ahead and submit those because accommodations take at least 10 days and you'll want to get those done. Now, if your student only needs double time, the great thing is they've made some changes there, and that is just submitting a spreadsheet. They do say it takes 10 days still, but just so you know, that process is a lot easier. If you're wondering retake policies on the exam, if your students don't pass the first time, there's a link there. Just tons of helpful links, and also including some of the information I included below or in the last slide about the Geometrics team and how to get their help.
Excuse
now,
me.
if yeah, go ahead.
Hi, can you go back 2 slides? Well, now it's 3. I just wanted to, yes. I wanted to copy down that address.
Oh, perfect. Also, there is a link to these slides in the meeting chat, so you can actually download all of them.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Am I safe to advance?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Okay, are you guys looking for ways to get your students college credit? Well, with the generative AI certification, when your students pass it, they qualify for 1 college credit. There's 39 colleges and universities within the state of North Carolina that accept ACE college credit. And if your students are going to college outside the state, there's 1,527 worldwide. These links right here will take you to the American Council on Education that grants this college credit. and then also a link to our Certiport site so that you can see the latest and greatest on which exams have college credit if you're teaching any other CTE courses. I took a screenshot and put some here for you guys, so you have those, but this certiport.com/college credit is your best place to get all the updated information. And then also one thing just to take note, I mean, a lot of you know us as Certiport, but they on April 1st, they made a change where they made 3 different divisions of Pearson and joined them into one because we all work with K-12 schools. And so it made sense to have us be all one team. And our new team is called Pearson Career Ready. So if you're trying to find us at summer conference, look for the big Pearson booth. I'm pushing really hard to have branding of all 3 divisions of Pearson that were joined into one. But just to let you know, we are not going away. You still have me and Matt, Corbin, the rest of the team. We just are going through a branding change. So we will be here to support you just like we always have in the past. Are there any questions? I see Cassie has a question in the chat about middle grades. If they take it, will they still be able to get college credit? If they are going to college while they're in high school, they will. And Matt, you're going to have to help me with this. Is it 3 years from the date you take it?
It is 5 years.
5 years. Perfect.
Okay. Well, folks, if there's no other questions, that's all we have for you today. And you can have about 12 minutes of your day back. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. We look, thank you, Terrence. And we sure look forward to seeing you at summer conference. Just so you know, Terrence will be there and he'll be doing sessions covering his course. Matt and I will be there and we'll be doing sessions. We have a booth, so we hope you'll come up and say hi. And we're looking forward to seeing you all in July.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Corbin, for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, there was one more question about using a Chromebook to complete assignments and quizzes for a test in the chat.
I see it here. Yes, you can use the Chromebook. You can use Windows, Mac, Chromebook. It's all in a web browser. So yeah, you could use that.
Thank you.
Is that for Compass or Compass Cloud as well? Is there a way to put those
So
on?
for the credential testing, I believe you have to use Compass Cloud
Yeah.
with the Chromebook. So it would be a better practice to if you could take those students to a real computer lab the day of testing.
Yeah, that's what I do for my entrepreneurship cert or credential that I teach this year, but that's definitely something to for a lot of us to figure out. So I appreciate it, man. This is great.
Yep, you're welcome. So all right, have a good afternoon, everyone.
Too.